Why I left the UK and I'm not planning on going back anytime soon. Over the past 11 months, I've been to 5 different countries. I'm currently in Thailand, but before this, I've been to Albania, Turkey, Cyprus, and Kosovo. I'm in Bangkok, Thailand at the moment, and traveling has changed my life. I'm going to go through the reason why I left the UK and why I think you should too if you're building an online business. So, the first one, weather. This is probably the most obvious. Um, in the UK, there's no different seasons. It's either winter or it's summer. There's no in between. It's cold, it's rainy, and it's grey like 7, 8 months of the year. Makes you not want to go outside. Just stay at home, and it's just a lifestyle where you have to be indoors most of the time. And even if you do go out, like you can't really stay outside, explore nature, like go around, like walk around the city. It's just cold. Like it's not a nice place to be. As a digital nomad, you can have sun 365 days of the year if you want. When it's hot in Europe, you stay in Europe. When it's cold in Europe, you go to Asia or maybe South America. So you can completely control what climate you want to live in when you start traveling and working on your online business. Cost of living. Okay, so to live the lifestyle that I'm living in these countries, in London, in the UK, these are like my minimum costs. Rent at least 2K a month, a city center apartment that has all the amenities like a swimming pool, a gym, a sauna, and a central location. I mean, forget about it. Like you're not even getting that for 2K a month. You're getting like for 2K a month, you're getting like a little box in central London. Uh, for something like where I'm living, it's at least 3K. But I've toned it down a little bit. I've said okay, minimum 2K a month, and then electricity, gas, water plus council tax. You're looking at least £200 a month as well during winter months, and then Wi-Fi plus phone. I don't know why I put 50. It's probably closer to like 75 or 100, but at least £50. Transport. If you're taking like Ubers, at least 2 or 3 times a week, or I don't know, you have to like commute to work or something. I don't really have to commute to work, obviously, because I work online. But if I'm taking Uber somewhere, like for example, like 4 or 5 times a week, it's gonna add up to at least £300 a month. Groceries, again, depends on what you eat, obviously. But the way I eat steak every day. I eat like 10 eggs, bunch of chicken, bunch of fruit. So all of that is gonna be at least £500 a month. Restaurants, I like to go out at least 4 or 5 times per week and eat outside, like during the evenings. That's going to be at least £800 a month. I mean, each restaurant sitting in London is at least between £30 and £50 with a drink and like starters and all that kind of stuff, like minimum. So yeah, that's what I'd be spending if I was in the UK. And then entertainment, if I want to go out with friends, like I don't know, go to a cinema, go top golf, or like do all these activities, right? It's uh it's going to be at least another £200 a month. So we're looking at about a cost of at least £4,000 a month. Now, as a digital nomad traveling the world, you can cut that cost in half. To rent a city center apartment in most of the countries that I visit, including gas, electricity, and Wi-Fi, it's at most it's like 1K a month. If you really wanted to go high end, high end, high end, like super big, like apartment with like 2 or 3 bedrooms, maybe like 1.5, 2K a month. But I haven't spent more than 1K a month so far on any of the places that I've stayed at. Phone bills, it can range from country to country. In Albania, you can get it for around £15. In Turkey, it's around £10 to £15 as well. In Thailand, it's a bit more expensive for an unlimited plan. It's around £30. Transport, uh, yeah, I mean, taxis are so cheap. Like in Turkey, you can literally take a 10 to 15 minute taxi ride for like £3. And it's a similar story in Albania as well. Like a 10 to 15 minute taxi ride is going to cost you like £5 maximum. Groceries, yeah, I don't really spend more than between 400 and £500 a month in these countries. Restaurants 4 or 5 times a week. You can go out to a restaurant and have a good meal for like between £10 and £15, maximum 20. So you're gonna spend like, depending on where you go and how, like which restaurants you eat at. If it was the same kind of comparison to London, £300 a month, maximum 400. Entertainment, let's say another 100. Cinema tickets in Turkey are like basically free. Going and doing things like bowling is basically free. even just like going to the beach, like if you're at a place where the beach is right there, you don't even have to pay for that, you know. So the total is like I'm spending around 2K a month. Between 1.5 and 2K a month is currently my average. Sometimes it's a little bit over, but this is kind of like the average. So lifestyle, this is one of the biggest reasons why I left the UK. I had this preconception in my mind that I had to get to a certain level in life financially before I could start enjoying my life. And that was the worst mistake I have ever made in my life. You do not have to have a shit lifestyle whilst you build your business. Your lifestyle can still be great. It can still be amazing whilst you build your business. If you're not happy right now, and you're waiting for this magical moment in the future when you get to a certain amount of income every single month, or you get your business to a certain point, and then you'll give yourself permission to be happy, you're literally wiring your brain to be unhappy. That's why so many financially successful people are unhappy, because they literally just play that trick on themselves where they're telling themselves, when I get to this level, then I'll be happy. And then, of course, the goalpost always moves, so they're actually never happy. So they're literally wiring their brain to be unhappy all the time. And I noticed this when I was in the UK. I just did an experiment. I just said, okay, let me just book a quick like weekend trip somewhere and go and see how I like it. I went and I was like, yo, like this is so much better than the UK. Like, why am I still in the UK in this headspace of like depression, feeling like shit every day, and not wanting to even work, you know, because of how shit I felt. So this is the biggest point, and this is the biggest reason why I left the UK. Your lifestyle does not have to be bad whilst you're building your business. You don't have to like, I don't know, stay in like a house and like share rooms with people and like all this stuff. You don't have to do that. Like, you can have your own place. You can go out to restaurants 4 or 5 times a week. You can have an amazing lifestyle in these places whilst building your business, you know? And obviously you can't really do that in the UK if you're just starting out your business and it's at zero, because your monthly expenses are gonna be huge. So this is the biggest point, and I really want you to like focus on this. I'm making this video right now for the lessons that I wish I had known before I started doing this. If I knew this before, I would have started doing it straight away. If there's one person that is listening to this right now and it gets them out of that headspace that I was in and it enables them to change their life, this video is worth it. Happiness. In the UK, when you are stuck at home all day long, you literally don't go out because you're working on your business, or you think you're working on your business, but you're not, because you're actually so unhappy that you're not productive, which I'm going to talk about in a second. When you're in that mental state, you can't move forwards. Like, it's such a like, you don't see a way out when you're in that headspace. You don't see a way to like better your life and get into a better state. You don't see how your life could be better. So when I started traveling, I had no income. I had some money saved up from my previous jobs, and I had a certain amount of time to actually make this work before I ran out of money, obviously. But I had no income. I started traveling and I was happy. That gave me the headspace that I needed to actually start working on my business and to make progress. I got to work on my business every day. I got to go to the gym every day. And during my spare time, I got to explore new places, because I would be in a new location every single time. Or even if I was going back to the same city I was in, like in Albania or Turkey, I knew the places that I wanted to go to, where I could hang out, restaurants I could go to. I made friends in the country, in the city as well. All of these things. Productivity. This is the biggest one. You are unhappy, and that is causing you to be unproductive. That is like the biggest lesson that I've learned. This whole thing of like, you have to live in misery, and you have to like beat yourself up, and you have to be hard on yourself, and you have to not give yourself any rewards. I mean, you can live a life like that. You can. But why? Why? Like, that is not the only option on how you can live your life. You can also be happy and productive at the same time. In fact, I would argue that if you are happy, you're going to be more productive. And I have found this to be 100% true in my life. Ever since I have made the decision to start traveling and I have become a happier person, and I actually enjoy waking up every day and living my life, I have become so much more productive. And it's the reason why I've scaled my business to a decent client base now where I can comfortably travel the world and I don't have to worry about money. So if you're starting from zero, and I touched on this earlier, your goals don't feel real. When you're in this headspace of being in your room in the UK and you don't go out and you don't interact with people because you're working on your business or because you don't feel like you deserve the reward yet, that lifestyle that you're trying to get to does not feel real. So you have to taste it and you have to live it. When I started traveling, one of the biggest realizations I had was, wow, I can actually live this life and it doesn't cost a lot. I can actually live this way and be happy and work on my business at the same time. So you have to taste it and live it to actually understand that it is possible for you. Because if it's just this dream in your mind, okay, sure, you can visualize, but it's never going to be as real as if you just live it. If you just go to the place, you spend some time there, and you see what your life could look like. And the last point on this is, are you driven by reward or loss? I figured out I was driven by loss. Reward in my head was, oh, one day I'll get to this point where I have the money to do this and I can do that. It didn't feel real. It just didn't. When I started traveling and I went to Turkey the first time, I spent about 3 months there, and it just made me realize how amazing life could be in terms of how I could structure my day, how I could get all my work done, go to the gym, and then have time to actually enjoy it and live a life that, like I said, I'm waking up every day and I'm looking forward to living rather than waking up every day and thinking, what is the point? So you need to figure out, are you driven by reward or are you driven by loss? If you're not productive and you're not making real progress towards your goals every single day, then I have to tell you something. I don't think you're driven by reward. I think you're probably driven by loss, just like me. So put yourself in a situation where you experience that lifestyle, even if it's for a week, even if it's for 2 weeks, experience it. Experience it so that you can see how it makes you feel in that moment, how much you appreciate it. And then once you start experiencing that, then it's like, I don't want to lose this. I want to live like this for the rest of my life. And that's what drove me to make so much progress in my business. I started, like I said, I initially started traveling in Turkey. I spent about 3 months there. And then after the 3 months, I kind of like justified to myself, oh no, like I'll go back to the UK, I'll get another job, I'll save some more money, and then I'll start traveling again. I came back to the UK within 2 weeks. I was completely depressed again. I was like, what? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Like, this is not something, this is not the way I want to live my life. I booked my flights to Albania, my Airbnb, and I was there in 2 weeks. And since that moment, 11 months ago, it was at the beginning of March last year, my life has completely changed in every single way. Traveling didn't just change my life, it saved my life, literally. I went from being depressed, spending all my time at home, not even being productive, just procrastinating all the time, to literally like wasting my life away. I'd watch movies and like series and binge on all that kind of stuff just so I could pass the time. That's how much I didn't like my life. I started traveling the world. It completely changed my mental state. It completely changed my emotional state. It completely changed my spiritual state. I'm more connected to God than I've ever been. It completely changed my physical state. I was able to be more consistent in the gym, be more consistent with my diet, and it completely changed my financial state to the point where now I can travel and I don't have to worry about money. I can live in these countries the way I want to live and not wait to get to this arbitrary number in my head to start enjoying my life. So that is why I left the UK and why I think you should too if you're building an online business.